the more effort you put into the first prompt, the less iterations you will be doing afterwards. Prompt engineering. I think there are a few things that we don't do right. Most people, when you talk to ChatGPT and stuff like that, you are like, or we are like, hey, how do I do, horizontal aligning with CSS? And that's it. And you expect it to produce like the magic, right? Which is the equivalent of going to Google and asking cats, or why do cats meow at night, right? Which is, it's a good question, but it's not really good, right? In Google, you cannot give a lot of context, but in Google there are parameters. You can search, like there are filters, site, and like site and stuff like that. You can use the minus, like dash, to filter out stuff. Say like, oh, I want this, I want front-end development minus Angular because I don't want to see anything in Angular, right? The same happens with ChatGPT, but not a lot of people knows what is prompt engineering, what is the context, what is the role, what is like the few parameters, because there's no clear guides on that. Actually, OpenAI, they released the OpenAI Academy last week, and not a lot of people knows about that. But if you Google, or if you search for OpenAI Academy, there are a few really good tutorials there. I haven't read any of them, but I think it's a good start if you're really starting out. Good. So what I wanted to share here is a little bit of prompt engineering, very basic, and then go into questions. Let me just share my screen because I have an example I've done with ChatGPT. So I have prepared an example of prompt engineering about prompt engineering, right? So it will be a little bit meta. I hope it's not too complex to understand, but basically, one of the things I have incorporated in the last few months is actually, before doing a query on ChatGPT, is help me to refine the query and write the prompt for me, which is, it's kind of like a middle step for accomplishing something. Let's see an example here, right? You can use this, you can copy this. Basically, is we use this thread as a prompt refiner, and that's something that you can use right away. I will input prompts, and you will guide me through questions to get all the necessary information you need to create the perfect prompt for each task. And this is something that I've been using for months. And just by creating this, your usage of ChatGPT will be much better, right? You will see it in a moment. Once you have the information, you will rewrite the prompt and explain it to me in terms of every item in its structure, so we can fine-tune and do flawless prompt engineering. This is a pretty good ask for ChatGPT to help you with this, right? For instance, an example I prepared for today is, somebody asked me, like, how can I use AI for financial planning and tracking my investments? Well, 3 months ago, I would have written this. Hey, help me do my financial planning and tracking my investments. It would be like a really shit prompt, right? And basically, ChatGPT is like having an intern that if you give really shit instructions, you get shit outputs. If you give really good instructions and you take the detail to refine and structure and give examples, stuff like that, the output of ChatGPT becomes really, really good. So let's see an example. Okay. This is a shit prompt. I want to start using AI for financial planning and tracking my investments because it doesn't have context. It doesn't set the tone. It doesn't indicate any kind of examples. What is the desired output? There's nothing. So AI will be like, whatever, because this is a prediction model, will be like, I'll try to predict something, and it will predict terrible stuff. Okay. So if you use this to help you to write better prompts, you will see that it helps. Let's start. You give this, and then it comes back with a few questions, right? Okay, clarification questions, objectives, what is the data source, like the formats, blah, blah, blah. It will ask about investment types, what kind of investments are we tracking, what is the frequency, what is the output, what is the What tools do you want to use? Do you want to integrate? Do you want to build code? What is your risk tolerance and profile and terms of privacy? It gives 8 questions that I answer here. And once I answer this with more or less detail, now it gives you the prompt. And this prompt is much better, because if you use this prompt, you will get a much better outcome than you would have gotten with the first one. And you can test it. If you do testing on your own, create a thread, give the first prompt, the terrible one, and then create another thread, not in the same one, and give this one. And you will see that the quality is immensely better in the second example. So here we got the version 1, which is good enough to help me create an AI assisted system, blah, blah, blah. I want to, it gives a little bit more context. It gives exactly what you want. It explains the output dashboards with charts and summaries, how you will enter the data, what kind of data should it expect, and what more instructions about how to use. And here, actually, this is more verbatim. This probably you don't need this level of detail, but it's good. Why? Because prompt engineering is something that people have had to reverse engineer, right? It's like, oh, I've tried these things, they work. I've tried these other things, they don't work. But more importantly, if you follow AI influencers on Twitter and they are not scientists, they're probably saying bullshit. For instance, I remember back in like a year ago, they would be sharing like, oh, I created this image, and they would be putting like parameters like the style of the camera, I don't know the technicalities of I'm not good at photography, but I know like this, like the focal point and the lighting, blah blah blah, and this kind of film. And somebody from OpenAI actually came out and said like, we don't process these parameters. Like, this is bullshit. So, but a lot of people believe that, right? But actually, if you ask the entire model here, or you read the documentation, there's something that is true here. So for instance, when you write your prompts, it's good to set the goal, right? A lot of people don't set the goal. Like, what's the purpose of the question, right? For instance, I wanted to, I will see some examples later, right? Or give me ideas for content marketing. What's the goal? Is it the MarsBased blog? Is it the MarsBased podcast? Is my personal newsletter? Is my social media accounts? Do I have an account for something else? Is it because my clients want content? What's the goal, right? Context, more or less the same, right? Why do you want to do it? And what information can you give me about that? I spent like a good 10 minutes writing that. And I know that sounds like a lot of effort, but the more effort you put into the first prompt, the less iterations you will be doing afterwards. By answering these questions here, it explains why this is important, right? The output format. Most of the times we ask for questions to an AI, but we don't give examples of how do we want the output. Oh, give me fake names for simulating user registrations in this application. And it's like, okay, fine. Here's a list of names, and it gives you a bulleted list. But said, oh, now I need it in JSON format. Well, why didn't you specify it in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, it's better to spend a little bit more time thinking through and providing like a really good prompt in the first place to avoid iterations, right? By answering these questions, it gave me actually more stuff to refine it better. So more questions. Then I answered these questions, and now refine prompt, final version. Use this one, and probably it's going to give you better examples than the first one. So this is the example I prepared. Like, feel free to experiment on your own. I do have other stuff. I've been playing with a voice. I've been playing it with, the different models, not so much. There's the integration with the Notes app. I don't know. Feel free to shoot questions. I wanted to open it up for you guys.
But did you try this? Like sending him like a dummy data Excel and see what's going on? with the charts or with tables or with something?
Yeah. Um, I don't remember the specifics, but I have my my financials I have on a Google Sheets,
Yeah,
right? I haven't given all of information, not for privacy issues, um, but because I really don't. I really don't know what to ask. I've gone for very specific things. Like sometimes I go like I screenshot a part of it and I say, I don't know. I want to accomplish this. Like for instance, oh, I've got these annual returns on my financial investments and stuff like that. And I want to calculate this other metric, but I don't know the formula. Can you give me the formula? Here's the data, and here's the entire sheet so you can see the cells, right?
yeah,
And because it can see the cells, it can provide you with the exact formula. Yeah, that works. Like for instance, that is
yeah.
a really good example.
Nice.
For other stuff that I do all the time with AI, for instance, is transforming images. Like for instance, I want a vectorial version of this image.
Yeah,
You know, um, here's the vectorial image, or it gave me two versions. Like give me one with auto trace with simplified. I don't even understand what that is. I said, give me this, and then now give me the other options: stylized interpretation, optimized to be used, so stuff like that, right? Or what is the other one? Give me. There's another one that is for this one. Give me the list of panel, like this is for a blog for MarsBased. I was like, oh fuck, I need the list of people who spoke at the Corporate Innovation Summit, and I always have to type it manually. No, it's hey, I've got this image. I mean, you probably cannot see it, but basically, this is the panel, and because the
yeah,
information of the speakers is here, name, role, and company, give it to me in this format. Now, great, I copy pasted this into the blog. Perfect. It saved me 10 minutes of doing this really stupid
yeah.
task.
Yeah, but this, for instance, this is like the case that I really like using
Mm-hmm.
this to quickly get something. The idea of
Correct.
spending 1 hour redefining the prompt and in the end finally get a result, it's like, well, forget it. I'm going to do it myself. Most likely, I'm not going to spend 1 hour, you know?
No, I mean, depends on the complexity of the task. There was another one that I did like this. For instance, let me see if
This
I,
prompt
okay, here,
information things.
here, a client sent me this, right? It's like a potential client is like, oh, this is the kind of bugs that we have in the application. It's like, yeah, great. It's like a screenshot of an Excel, and I'd like to copy this into linear, but I cannot. So give me the text of this image.
Yeah,
Fine, great. And here I probably should have said, give it to me in markdown because I want to put it in a linear, but it was sufficiently easy that here you copy paste it into linear. It works, right? But
yeah,
sometimes you want specific formats. For instance, Apple Notes doesn't have like markdown from the get-go, or you want Google Docs is a
yeah,
specific kind of markdown. So stuff like that, you can optimize for that. Say like, hey, give me this, but the output has to be something that I can copy paste on Google Docs that looks great, and boom, it works, right? So it's a good example. This one was
yeah.
more, a longer
Well,
one, right? Oops.
that's the thing that I'm trying basically to say, that the value right now for me it's for these kind of things, not to spend
Correct.
1 hour redefining a prompt. Okay, like
Mm, yeah,
doesn't make sense.
unless no, because you're using the AI as a like an intern for really simple tasks, right?
Yeah,
This is something like. But
just like
sometimes you really want the other one. You really want something more specific.
imagine like simple things that you can process fast and easy, just like these examples. Or
Yeah.
for instance, in Cursor, where we have the tab, and it's
Hmm.
like I don't know, stronger or muscular autocomplete.
Hmm.
All of these are like simple tasks.
Yeah.
Problem
Exactly.
that, and for well, sometimes I have discussions. Okay, yes, because well, I need to discuss with someone. I need to speak with someone. Let me speak with a robot. This is sad, but anyway, the thing is that sometimes I get ideas with these kind of conversations with him. The thing is redefining prompts, spending time building prompts. Uh, it's a pain.
Like for me, like doing the parallelism with coding is like the way we're using ChatGPT and conversational stuff is like
Yeah.
writing spaghetti code. You're writing spaghetti code. Like, oh, I want this. Like, for instance, let's see the same example. Help help me track my investments and financial data. Okay. Yeah. Step-by-step plan. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if this works. Maybe it works. Maybe it has like some context behind, blah, blah, blah. But like, for instance, it will talk about like crypto. I don't do crypto. Or loans. I don't have loans or credits or debits. Like I don't have this, right?
Yeah.
And so because I didn't give it enough context, or maybe I want something else, right? I want it for okay. Now it has context behind,
Uh,
because if you look at this, there's Wallapop sales, and Wallapop sales. I'm sure that not a lot of people track that. I do track that, and because I asked it on the other thread, it does have this context,
okay.
right?
Okay. So what
Otherwise,
you
it wouldn't be.
are,
So
sorry. So what you are saying is that redefining a prompt, it's more or less like having this conversation when I'm coding.
no, no,
Because
no,
in
no.
the
For
end,
me, it's
I'm
like no, no. What I'm trying to say, I'm sorry, I'm not conveying the right idea. Is like if you don't think your prompt correctly, it's
yeah.
like starting a development task that hasn't been defined by the tech lead, right? If the functional and technical definition is not good, you will do something and maybe the client doesn't want, it doesn't really integrate well, and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and maybe it's spaghetti code or something. And by spending time on engineering your prompt, right,
Okay.
is like doing a good definition of a task. Hey, here's like the controller that you gotta use. Like this is the use case. This is expected output. Like the application should do this. This is how you test it. This is like it has to run
Okay.
under this number of milliseconds per petition and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
stop doing spaghetti prompting and start investing time in providing this. I think because I use it a lot and I've seen that most of the times I'm like, oh, fuck it. Like it didn't give me a good answer. No, it didn't give you a good answer because the question was not right. It was a shit question. Shit questions give shit answers. So, and that's why I'm now more than ever like spending more time on the initial prompt. And, as a result, I also do it in the kind of requests I do to people that work with me. It's way more defined now than it used to be in the past because of this.